So welcome back to the channel. In this video we're going to look at making a triptych using the frame tool within Photoshop. But we're also going to go on location first to get the shots, then we're going to make the triptych. So keep watching. Well, it's another beautiful evening. I've come down to, there's a kind of small wooded area just between, well, at the end of the housing estate that I live at. So you've got industry that side, houses there. It's just a small strip of land. But I've got a thing about bracken when it's unfurling. I know bracken can be a bit of a kind of nuisance, but when it's unfurling, the leaves are just, I find them fascinating. So hopefully what this idea is going to be is from a start to finish, trying to produce a triptych. So a series of 3 images that hopefully work together, and that's the trick with a triptych, isn't it? It's trying to get 3 images that work together. So in my mind I kind of need a main character in the middle and then complementary images to either side. So hopefully we'll get something. I was down here walking the dog last night and I just saw a couple of things and I just thought, yeah, it might be a shot there. So that's the idea. But yeah, we'll try and go through each shot and hopefully produce a triptych at the end of it. So you'll have to excuse the noise, but you can maybe hear something, someone's cutting the grass in the background, which just emphasises that I am just on the edge of an industrial estate and the housing estate, but this is the kind of thing that I'm looking for. I mean, I kind of think this looks like a heart, the way it's unfurling, so this I think would make kind of a good main character. The only challenge I've got here is quite a messy background, so I need to find a depth of field that's going to give me enough depth of field on the subject, but throw the background. So that's going to be the challenge here. So as I say, I've got just macro lens. I have got a tripod just to make life a little bit easier. I have bought a diffuser, but I'm not sure if that's going to help or hinder, because just looking with my eye, I can diffuse the light on the subject, but then my background's still bright, so I'm not sure if that's going to help or not, but we'll certainly give it a try. So the diffuser's actually making quite a difference. I will put before and after up, but what it's doing is just killing those harsh highlights on the bracken, and also where I'm getting shadow falling from the leaves onto the area that I'm photographing, it's softening that as well. So that was a result. Although I did just stick a hole in my diffuser with my tripod spike, so that was a bit stupid, but never mind. The other thing that's useful, you may not be aware of on your camera, is the depth of field preview button, normally located round by the lens, and that's helping me just to determine how much depth of field I need. So I've been at like 5.6 f8, depending on how close I am to the subject. So another useful tip. So getting into it now, I've got a few shots already. I wouldn't say I've necessarily got 3 for the triptych, but just a few things I've learned while I've been doing it. Obviously the diffuser is cutting out quite a bit of light, probably over a stop of light, so that's a consideration, having to bump the ISO up. Do have a bit of a breeze today, so I need a shutter speed that's fast enough to freeze the action. The other thing I've got to consider is if I use the diffuser, for the triptych I want a consistent look across all 3 images, so I need to use the diffuser for each shot really for a consistent look. So yeah, I've definitely got a couple of shots, could do a third, but it's interesting once you get down into a position like this, you just start seeing other things. So yeah, it's just really nice to be out. I'll show you this shot that I've got at the moment. Might not look much on the video. Quite complex kind of looking, but just love the way the leaves are unfurling, and should look nice in macro. So yeah, we'll keep going. So just a couple of other things to consider. A bit of gardening in the background, so I'm reviewing my images, checking the background. I'm kind of having to accept that I haven't got a huge amount of depth of field. I've got some busy backgrounds here, so I'm kind of having to accept that I can only have part of the subject in focus and quite shallow depth of field. But yeah, I think I've got a few shots. Hopefully we can put a triptych together. So now we've got the images, we need to put them together within Photoshop into the triptych. Before we get to that stage, we need to kind of think about the images that we're going to use. Now, obviously, I took a lot more than 3 images, so I need to decide kind of what's going to work together. I've already whittled them down to 3 images, and I'll talk you through why I've chosen these particular images. So this first one here, like the heart shape, kind of see this as like the main character in the triptych. This one here, we've got this kind of heart shape again, but this time it's pointing right into the frame, so I kind of see this on the left hand side of the triptych. And then this one here, we've got kind of a nice S shape going on, which I like, and it's pointing left, so I kind of see this one on the right hand side. So you do have to kind of pre-visualize what you're trying to achieve. So these are in kind of the wrong order, but if we imagine this image here in the center, this one being on the left hand side and this one being on the right, I think that would kind of work quite nicely. So we need to go into Photoshop, and the first thing we need to do is a blank canvas. Now again, you have to kind of pre-visualize what you're trying to achieve. Typically, you know, if you put 3 images side by side in a row, then naturally you've got quite a panoramic kind of image. You obviously don't have to do it that way. You could do a portrait, you can, yeah, there's various ways that you can do it, but I'm just going to put them in one row, kind of panoramic. Now in terms of, so if I go to File, New, in terms of the canvas size, now this is going to be, again, entirely up to you. You don't have to do it as big as I'm doing it. You might want to do it bigger. It depends on the output. So what you're going to do with the image once you've made it. Are you just going to stick it on social media, in which case you don't need these kind of dimensions? Do you want to kind of print it? Because then if you make it too small and then you try and print it big, you're going to run into problems. So I'm going to do 8,000 by 3,000. My resolution, I'm doing 240 pixels per inch because that is my camera files are that resolution, so it just makes it easier. You might need to check your own. I'm going to have a transparent background, and I'm going to keep it in sRGB profile because I've been shooting in sRGB. I've edited the images in sRGB, so I want that consistent color output. So go to create, and you can see straight away it's a very kind of panoramic looking canvas. Next thing we need to do, or this is how I approach it, is to use a guide layout. So under View, go to Guides and New Guide Layout. And straight away, I already got one kind of pre-saved, but just to talk you through how it works, you can change the color of the guides. I find red is useful because it kind of pops out, might be too much for you. You can change the number of columns and rows. Now, I'm going to use 7 columns, which may seem odd at this point, but it will make sense shortly, hopefully. Then you've got the option of a gutter. So this is the spacing between the columns. You can do the same on rows if you're having multiple rows. I just want one row because I am putting images on one row. So you could have a gutter, you can reduce this. PX just stands for pixels. You can use millimeters or centimeters or whatever measurement you prefer. So when I changed that, it did narrow that gap between the columns. And then at the bottom here, we've got margin. So this is the space around your columns and rows. So you don't have to have any margin. So if I turn that off, it's giving us a funky result on the columns, but I'll turn columns off a minute. I'm not sure if that's actually showing us properly, but you turn margin off and you will take the columns and rows right to the edge of the canvas. Now I don't want my images right on the edge, so I do want a margin. And I've gone for 200 pixels top, left and right, and I've gone for a bigger margin at the bottom, and that'll make some sense shortly, hopefully. So I'm going to go back to my preset, because any preset that you make, you can save as a preset. So I've saved one for my bracken, and okay, that's because let's clear the guide a minute. That's because I applied one a moment ago, so new guide layout. So now, sorry, if I turn the margin off, you should see, yeah, it goes right to the end. It's because I applied the guide layout and then went back into it, and it was trying to put another guide layout over the one that I already had. So let's go back to my bracken one. That's all good. Now this step is completely optional, but I like to go back into view, guides, and I like to lock the guides, because if I don't, if I'm within the move tool, which is this tool up here, and I accidentally move a guide and I don't realise straight away, I mean, if I do it now and just press Command Z, then the guide will go back to undo it, or but if I don't realise and then I've accidentally moved it, it can be a bit of a pain to get it back. Obviously I could go back into the guide layout. If I've saved it, I could just reapply it, but what I like to do is go into guides and lock the guides. Now I can't even grab them, I can't accidentally move the guides. So now we need to get some images in. So I can go back into Lightroom, I'm going to select these 3 images. I can do Command E to edit in Photoshop, or I can right click, edit in Photoshop, and that's just going to bring the images into Photoshop for me. So we've got the 3 images here. Let's start placing them as a triptych. So I'm going to be using the frame tool, which the shortcut is K. Depending how you've got Photoshop set up, it might be down here as a button, it might not. You're going to need to look at your own settings. You might need to right click down here to see more tools, and you can see the frame tool is like a rectangle with a cross in it. So I've got the frame tool selected, and I'm going to deal with my main one first. Now I'm not going to have the images just the same size. I'm going to have the middle image as my kind of main image, and then the supporting acts either side as kind of the smaller images. So that's why I use 7 columns, because I didn't want the images to be the same size. So my middle image is going to span across 3 columns, and then my images either side are just going to use 2 columns. I hope that makes sense. But again, you have to kind of pre-visualize how you're going to lay them out. So all I did there was, if I delete that, so I'm just using the guides. The guides are really useful because it will try and snap to those areas. So you can get, as I get close to this guide down the bottom here, it kind of snaps to it. And the same on the right hand side here. So that frame that I've built is nicely centered and within those columns that I've used. So now we need to get an image into that frame. So we pick our first image. So this is the one that we said we kind of want in the center. So if I do Command A to select all, Command C to copy, go back here and just Control V to paste, and it pastes it in the frame. Now it's cropping the image, and we can deal with that. That's absolutely fine. Because what over here, if we look at the layer, this is acting like a mask, which is what makes the frame tool really useful, because it will, anything outside of the frame area that we've built is masked off. So we can now reposition the image by resizing it, and I'm going to go for something like that. And the great thing is we can just come back to this layer. If we do Command T, which is free transform, we can just amend it, edit it. It's kind of non-destructive in that sense. That's our first image in. So we just take the frame tool again, which is K, and let's deal with this left-hand one. So I'm going across 2 columns like that, and then we find the image that we want to bring in, which is this one. So Command A to select all, Command C to copy, and then Command V to paste. And let's, if we do Command T, we can free transform it, and let's place it in the image. Something like that. It can be as fussy or not as fussy as you want. So I'm still on the frame tool, so let's do this right hand image like that. So let's get our last image, Control A to select all, Control C to copy, go back, Let's paste it here. Command T to free transform. And rotate it a little bit. Just got to watch this top right hand corner. I'm not, there we go, somewhere like, yeah, when I move it down, so I maybe don't want to rotate it too much. Yeah, something like that. You can spend a lot more time and be a lot more finicky with it. So there's our triptych layout. Because we've got a blank canvas underneath, we could take the paint bucket tool, and then we could just apply whatever colour we want in the background. Maybe just plain white. Maybe you just want black. We don't need those guides now, so what we could do, so they're not looking distracting, we can just clear them now. It gives you a better idea of what the triptych looks like. And as I say, we can do whatever colour we want on the background. Maybe we could do like a gradient, so that's, you know, maybe pick up some of these lovely warm colours, take a linear gradient, do it the other way around, so let's reverse it, something like that. Yeah, I don't particularly like that actually. We'll just go with white. The reason I left this space at the bottom is so I could put some text in. Again, it's purely kind of optional, but maybe now I'm just trying to work out where the centre of the image is, and otherwise it's going to look odd if I don't place it in the centre. So firstly, I'm just going to take a ruler, and there you go. That I'm just drawing a guide on the image so I know where I can get to the centre. Take my text tool, I can place that then right on there, make sure I'm centered. Let's find a font that might work. Let's just go with that one for a minute. And bracken, my text color is currently white, which is not helping, so there we go. Let's go black, maybe go a little bit bigger, and we can reposition it somewhere like that. Just to give you a rough idea. Let's get that guide out the way now by clearing our guides, and there we have it. So hopefully that was useful. The frame tool, very helpful tool for kind of putting these things together. I'll put the final result up at the end, but if you've got any questions, drop them in the comments. But thank you for watching. Till next video, look after yourselves, take care, and goodbye.